So I came back to the States and it was challenging. The vibe was really different than the America that I left in 2015. And we kind of entered into this new era and this new wave of post-Me Too. And, here we are, the year of the women, and now what I would imagine is going to be the decade of the woman. And I have thought a lot about the women and girls that I spend time with. I have given a couple talks at the local library in the town that I grew up in Middlebury, and talked a little bit about my service. But then within the last year, during my grad school program, I was with a couple other Coverdell Fellows, which is the fellowship that Peace Corps offers with partnering universities. And we wanted to host a storytelling event. So that was one thing we did. And I was very intentional about talking about Delisa, actually. And I told my story and about the reusable pad project that we did together. But over the course of the last 2 years, and then certainly gaining momentum in the last year, I've been working on a book actually about these women, because I really think that when I say we, but my experience returning to the States, when people ask me about Tanzania and about Peace Corps, and people seem to generalize Africa, but they want to know what it was like. And when I tell them that, in fact, it's not really Heart of Darkness over there, which I think a lot of people still think of Joseph Conrad's book, and that narrative, even if they don't know where that comes from, the narrative Heart of Darkness, I think, still surrounds that part of the world. And I always talk about, and I'm very intentional about talking about these women and the light that I saw and the light that really emanated from the village and from their hearts. And that's important and that's powerful to share. A lot of books I have read about service are kind of about volunteers and their experiences and their kind of epiphanies around, I came to change the world. And in fact, I can't change the world. I can, only
change myself.
And I never really went into Peace Corps trying to change the world. I really went in to meet people and forge these relationships. So I'm working on this book about the women and their stories, and I want to share their voices, especially at the village level, because I think those are the voices that we don't always hear. And their voices are very powerful and very filled with light and resiliency. And to me, that was what was so life-changing for me about my service, is I thought, look at these women here. All the odds are stacked against them, and yet they are still so interested in what they can do to make sure their kids aren't stunted, what they can do to make sure their kids get to secondary school, what they can do to make sure their children succeed in life, and that their lives look better than their lives. So that's what I try to share when people ask me about my service, and what I hope this book can portray.